And welcome back to our next segment of Let's Play Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup with Billing's Learned Hand, the Demonspawn Hunter of Okawaru. When we left off, we had just decided to worship Okawaru, the god of battle. And you can see up at the top now by our name, it lists that we are a worshiper of Okawaru, and next to it are 6 little periods. Those turn into asterisks as you increase your level of piety, which we gain from killing things and praying over fresh corpses. So let's continue on our way. Many people, when they reach the Ecumenical Temple, where we are now, will create a stash. Stashes are just piles of stuff. Because you can control F, you can find, for example, if there were any permafood lying on the ground, it would bring up food. You see, if we drop these, it brings up that there are food items there. Pick both of those back up. But I'm not going to create a stash right at this moment because, first of all, we should be hitting the layer within the next few dungeon levels, and it's much better to create a stash on the layer because it's a little bit further down, it's easier to get to, and also there's no guarantee, or there's a guarantee that no monsters that will pick up your items will ever spawn in the layer. And if you do it on the second level of the layer, you don't have to worry about jellies eating your items either, which is a huge plus. An interesting factoid while we kill this iguana. Iguanas are much tougher than they look. And we found our first spell book, but it is one of the high-level spell books. The Necronomicon, the Grand Grimoire, and the Book of Annihilations, which are high level of necromancy, summoning, and conjurations, respectively. To ID them, you have to have 6 skill levels in spellcasting and 10 in the relevant school, which we do not have, so we may never actually get to read that book. Anyway, here we have a killer bee. It is not just one killer bee. I am absolutely positive that there are at least 3 other killer bees just out of sight. Killer bees are very dangerous if you don't have poison resistance, which we don't have any poison resistance. Fortunately, they cannot open doors, so Shift-C, capital C, will close that door. And then we will use a handy feature of Dungeon Crawl, which is the exclusion feature. You enter the map scroll mode with Shift-X, and then you move it to where you don't want to go, and you press E. Once creates a large area of travel exclusion. If you press it again, it turns it into a single square. A third time removes it. So we want to put exclusions on these doors so that we don't accidentally open them when we auto-travel. We can still manually walk into it and press yes there, but we don't want to do that because I would rather wait to take on those killer bees and hopefully find something, a source of poison resistance, which would be ideal. Here we have a bear. I'm not too worried. Bears will run away when they get low in health, and then they will berserk. And it's really only when they're berserking that you have to worry about them. Black bears, at least. Grizzly bears are tougher. Polar bears will sneak up on you and kill you. Polar bears are quite vicious. Yes, we're going to hope to find a source of poison resistance to fight those killer bees. They don't do a lot of damage per hit, but they are extremely fast. And so they will hit you many, many times before you can kill them, and that'll stack up the poison, and it can lead to the death of even a hardy adventurer if they are not resistant. And while we are fairly strong, we are reasonably strong at this point in the game. There's another altar to the Shining One. Poo on him, he doesn't like us. While we're fairly strong at this point in the game, I don't want to take any chances that I don't have to, because this is Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup, and it is brutally punishing of hubris. Wyvern Zombie, it has the dragon tile set, but it's actually not all that threatening to us, and we're just gonna... you'll notice that there's no health bar underneath the zombie, even though I'm obviously hitting it. That is because many undead creatures do not have health bars, because it's hard to tell, how much of you damaged a zombie. There are already bits falling off of it when you start attacking it. Okay, so this is, what kind of zombie is this? A hill giant zombie. Oh, no, we definitely want our bow for that. I should have checked that first. Hill giants are incredibly tough. They hit very, very hard. Fortunately, zombies are slow. Yes, they are slow enough that we can kite it around. This bat is quite annoying. It is getting in the way of many of our shots. Like, it's getting a couple of hits on us because I'm not really kiting properly, but we should be okay. Yeah, there we go. So you can see we already have 3 levels in evocations, which is excellent. Oh dear, there's not even a door there. That's the room with the bees. We are going to back up and hope that that bee did not see us. Evocations provides a great benefit for even a few levels when it comes to using wands. Oh, piffle, a jelly. I don't really have a melee weapon that I don't care about. Let's try this wand of random effects. It is slowed. That's good. I really don't want to shoot arrows at it because we're so low on arrows. Let's try these darts of frost. See, no, our throwing skill is terrible. That's not doing much. All right, well, we're going to risk our mace of protection being corroded, rather. Yeah. Oh, it's so bad now. 2 full levels of corrosion. That's unfortunate. Well, it's still good for the armor class. We shouldn't be meleeing stuff too much anyway. That bee saw us. That's bad. Let's just hope the others don't. Okay, good. Yeah, the bees are not very strong in terms of number of hit points, but they have very high evasion. If we can draw these bees out one at a time, we might be okay. Yeah. There are 2. Well, 3. Our bow's skill went up. That's nice. Okay. Well, that went much better than I expected. I guess our evasion is reasonable. 14 AC, 13 evasion is pretty good. It's pretty reasonable for this amount. If you're going with a sort of a tank fighter build, full strength, no intelligence, heavy armor, forget evasion, you can get up some pretty ridiculous levels of armor class. Shucks, we're going to have to eat some permafood. Okay. Which can be fun. Things just bash their fists against your impenetrable defenses. But it's just like having a boombox playing Iron Man as you walk through the dungeon. Everything is going to notice you right away. And I like to have a little bit of warning before things. Ooh, arrows of dispersal. Those are quite useful. They apply a random translocations effect occasionally when they hit. An elf. Okay. Elf mage. Elves are not particularly robust, but they are powerful spellcasters. They are also delicious. Yeah, so arrows of dispersal are quite useful when you're fighting something that you don't want to be fighting anymore. That's a spore down there. We're going to throw a dart at it so it explodes and doesn't confuse us. Kill this eyeball and this orc, and nip this in the bud. If you leave those bacillomites, or ballistomycetes, all of you mycologists in the audience can correct my pronunciation. Assuming that's even a real word. With Dungeon Crawl, it's kind of a toss-up. Anyway, those will spread if you leave them, and they will occasionally spit out those spores. And if one of those hits you while you're fighting something, it can be quite unpleasant. Okay, so that Quasit drained our dexterity by 1 point. Whenever you see stats drained like that, it's temporary. You can walk it off, basically. Walk it off! The one exception is Rotting, which affects your hit points and is permanent unless you use potions of curing or heal wounds when you're at max health. Blork the Orc, wielding a dire flail, so he can do some damage, but I'm not too worried about Blork the Orc. He can cast some spells. Let's see, a particularly fat and ugly orc. He seems to have scavenged a pair of rainbow-coloured suspenders from somewhere. They're not helping. So he looks dangerous. He can throw frost at us. Cantrip, whenever a creature has the cantrip spell, it means it doesn't do anything. It's just a placeholder so that they're not casting something incredibly powerful every single time they cast a spell, since generally those are chosen at random. But he can haste himself, and he can hit us with some magic. I think he won't be too big of a deal, though. He hasted himself. He's fast. Okay, yeah, we're fine. Block ain't no problem. Alright, there's a gecko. We can just bash it with our sad, sad little mace. Another thing Gourmand does for you is you can eat rotting flesh. Unless we mutated and... Oh, we did. That is actually a mutation. Haha, silly me. You can tolerate rotten meat. That is the first of the foul stench mutation. It's one of my favorites, actually. At level 1, it provides you with the first saprivore trait, which means we can eat meat when it's rotten, means chunks last in our inventory longer. So even after we ditch the amulet to the Gourmand, we'll still have a little bit of a boost with hunger. Rank 2, you resist rot, which I just mentioned, permanently removes hit points until you cure them. So that's really nice. There are some annoying enemies with rotting. Additionally, there's a 33% chance when you are hit to give an attacker sickness, which I believe reduces their skills. And also a 20% chance to release a cloud of miasma following a strong hit. Miasma slows, poisons, and rots anything within it. So basically everything around us is going to be well, not very happy about their chances with the battle. The third rank of the Foul Stench mutation is the same as rank 2, except that the odds of sickness and miasma are doubled, so a 2/3 and 40%, 3/5 chance of 2/5, sorry, chance of those effects occurring. So that's really kind of cool. It's not the strongest of the tier 2 mutations. It is a tier 2 mutation, of which we get 2. So we have our body slot, our scale slot, and one of our 2 tier 2 slots. It's not the most powerful of the tier 2 mutations, but it is far from the worst. I'm not a huge fan, for example, of the spiny mutation. Not because it isn't good, because it is. It inflicts damage on creatures which hit you. But it dramatically decreases in effectiveness when not only your opponent has high armor class, but when you have high armor class. It makes a check against both of yours to reduce the damage. So that basically says we have to either give up heavy armor or we have to give up the mutation. And since mutations are the primary reason why you play the Demonspawn race, see, here is where our arrows of dispersal have queued up. You can see they have somewhat random effects. We're going to go ahead and move a little bit so that guy with the tomahawk stops clocking us with it. Okay, cool. Also, you'll notice down at the bottom, Okawaru is accepting our kills. That means that it may have given us piety. We have killed something that is eligible for a piety increase. I'm not sure the exact odds, but I think it's about a coin flip for each kill. And then, of course, praying over corpses, which I'm not doing quite yet because I want to get to engorge status by eating things with our Amulet of the Gourmand. Okay, rank 2 of our Foul Stench. That's good. Getting rank 2 of the tier 2 or 3 mutations is quite strong early on, and rank 3 is even stronger. You can get some really cool stuff. Oh, interesting. Looks like a spear of venom or something. Which we actually might. Yeah. We're going to go ahead and pick that up. Try it out. Yeah, we're going to hang on to this Spear of Venom. First, because you can evoke spears and other polearms to attack a square away from you, which is very nice. Gives you an extra turn to prepare to switch weapons or invoke heroism, for example. And also, Venom is very powerful in the lair, which we have coming up fairly soon. And also that that stupid jelly corroded our mace. I really want to get an offensive wand. Eat some of this flesh. I really want to get an offensive wand so that we have a ranged option aside from... see, the corpse slowly burns to ash, means it didn't give us piety. Aside from our arrows, which can be destroyed by jellies, or just there's a small chance of your arrows being destroyed whenever you shoot them. I am going to go ahead and assign the spear to slot A, so that we switch between our bow and our spear, not the bow and the mace. Yeah, okay. Two-headed ogre zombie. I really want to find more arrows. We have been experiencing quite the dearth of arrows this run. We have relative success otherwise. See Invisible is a good thing to have early on. If we ever find a spell book, we can immediately cast level 1 and 2 spells because of that Ring of Wizardry. So those are some pluses, but we're also, we're a hunter with 11 arrows. That's a very sad place to be. Oh, a phantom and a skeleton and a necrophage. We would be a lot more worried about this necrophage if we didn't have resist rot, which we do now. Ta-da! You can see the little pip next to it. Resist rot is another binary. You are either resistant or you are not. And I believe it's like a 90% chance to resist being rotted. So that's kind of nice. They have a rotting attack is what I'm trying to say here. So we're going to pepper it with arrows, mostly because it's standing in the way of the phantom, which is the real enemy here. Phantoms are pretty tough. Oh man, I think arrows of dispersal are... Crap, those are used up. We just want to pick up the arrow. Arrows of dispersal are used up regardless. They have a 100% chance to be destroyed when you fire them. To keep you from abusing the game mechanics, I think. Because otherwise you could just fire them until you get the effect you desire. And because I think you can even banish monsters to the abyss with arrows of dispersal. The abyss is somewhere that we may actually end up later if we are unlucky and or very strong. There are places where you can willingly enter the abyss. Otherwise, you're typically sent there by some sort of weapon of distortion. Sky Beast, so it's nice that we have this See Invisible. We're just going to attack it down. I don't care about no Sky Beast. Pray over these corpses. Quarterstaff, that's not particularly useful. I really should be switching to my bow. Don't want to fall into that lazy trap. Orc Wizards, I think we can just melee them down. The reason why I'm even considering meleeing anything at all is because we have found no arrows. In fact, I'm going to double check. Yeah, these are the entirety of the arrows we have found throughout the course of this whole game. That is very uncommon. Usually we would have 100+ arrows at this point and not have to worry about ammunition. But, alas, the Crawl Gods have frowned upon us. Oh, that was the factoid that I was going to mention at the very beginning of this video and never got around to. The reason why this game is called Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup is because the game Dungeon Crawl was developed in the early 2000s, like 2001, 2002, somewhere around there, and then abandoned by its creators as open source software. And 5 or 6 years ago, the Crawl devs, developers, found this stuff, and they all kind of pitched in and invited other people to pitch in, and they made this game and its various iterations. Ah, see, that frog was engulfed in a dark miasma. That's why I became confused. Um, that's one of the reasons why I love this game so much, is because it's completely free and it's very fan and player-based community and development. There's no corporate headquarters telling people how to play the game. Goliath beetles are another one of those very slow monsters that you can run away from, so you can kite them back, but can kill you in a couple of hits if you're. So yeah, we're just sort of, oh dear, there's an ogre. Hi, ogre. He should go down fairly rapidly to our Spear of Venom. Poison is very effective in the early levels against monsters. We're kind of just kiting it back, hoping that we don't die. There we go. Yeah, so lots of experience, just little bags of experience. All right, our evocations are up to 5. I think I'm going to go ahead and turn them off. At this point, I'm almost tempted to train a melee skill, but I don't have a particularly outstanding weapon at the moment. I guess we'll turn on armor for a little bit. Armor is pretty much always helpful unless you are a pure caster only wearing robes. You find an early artifact robe that's worth keeping for the whole game, which is astonishingly rare. There are better kinds of armor that you can wear. Centaur wielding a bow. That's good. Not because I particularly enjoy the idea of fighting a centaur, but because we can grab its stuff. Whether it be a bow of flaming. No, he just had arrows of flame. Okay, so yeah, 15 more arrows. Sweet. I was just complaining about that. So these I'm not concerned about because we're poisoning them greatly. Yeah. Crocodiles are pretty tough. A little tougher than iguanas. Not a lot tougher than iguanas, which is a little bit absurd. But uncursed bow. If it says it's uncursed, it means we've seen a monster unwield it. And so it's worth testing out to see what the bonus is. Especially since in this version of Crawl Trunk, you automatically know what the bonuses are upon wielding a weapon. It used to be you had to have a certain level of skill in a weapon before you could tell what its pluses or minuses were, which was very frustrating if you were wielding a cursed weapon or even an uncursed weapon, branded weapons, and you discover 3 dungeon levels later that it was a -2, -4 weapon, and it was just let's see, let's quiver the arrows of flame, not the arrows of dispersal. I completely lost my train of thought from earlier. Anyway, something about things being good early and not later. Anyway, these wights are not too dangerous. They're probably about as strong as orc warriors, maybe a little stronger, but they often carry weapons of draining. That's their shtick. Okay. All right. And no, we're not going to attack him with our bow. We're going to stab him repeatedly with our spear. An uncursed bow of flame. That turns all of our arrows into fire arrows. Okay, it's a +0, +0, +1, +3, +1, +3. So I'm, while we still only have... Oh, we did get some more arrows from that centaur. That's excellent. That is quite good. 23 arrows. So it's worth actually wielding the bow of flame. Since we're using normal arrows, the flame brand... I think the shorthand is that it has a chance of doing an additional 30% or so, 30 to 50% of the weapon's damage. Maybe even always 50%. significant amount. So it's worth giving up to guaranteed damage for the potential of a lot more damage. Unfortunately, we can't seem to hit anything with it. Okay, there we go. That's fine. We'll back up a little bit. The annoying thing about monsters having pole arms, by the way, is that they can reach over other monsters to hit you. So you can have two dudes stabbing away at you at once, which is really frustrating. Sometimes you just want to get to the guy in the back, and that's when having a source of smite targeting is excellent. Smite targeting, again, the creature only has to be within line of sight, not within direct line of effect. Killer bees are poisonous. When you resist poison, you can actually eat poisonous meat as if it were clean meat, which is really cool. But as I said earlier, we don't have a source of poison resist yet, and that's unfortunate. Big kobold zombie. Yeah, see, our dexterity from being drained earlier has come back. That is good. There's another bee here. More bees, plural. It's good to know that we're pretty safe from them, which is why I'm continuing to melee. You can see our health bar, that yellow section of the bar is how much damage our poison will deal before it runs out. I believe I mentioned that earlier in an earlier video, but in case you had forgotten. There's a big kobold. Getting a little nervous. We're pretty low on hit points. He's very poisoned. Let's try and kite him back. Hope the venom finishes him off. Yeah, there we go. Alright, that's good. There's a corpse butcher. Regular kobold. Do not care. Do not care whatsoever. What is up with all these kobolds? And their poisonous needles. Blowguns are really good to pick up very early on. They're quite effective, even without any skill in throwing. And some classes start with skill in throwing, such as the fighter. So it's especially nice to find them as that. That didn't make me too happy. Let's pray over that corpse and retreat back here to sleep. I probably should have killed him with a bow, but I'm being miserly with my arrows at this point. Anyway, blowguns are good early on. You could just poison something and run away. Spriggans especially like blowguns because they are very, very fast, and so they can simply poison something and run away from anything short of killer bees. Harpies, I think, are equally speedy. Yeah, so we're just sort of more or less cautiously meleeing things down. It's a little... If we were any lower in the dungeon, I would not even take that chance because of the possibility of something sneaking up on you while you're low on hit points, either hearing your battle or simply stumbling across your resting place. That will just, one-shot you, and then you're done. Your game is over. You can see Crimson Imps are a real pain. They don't, like I said, they don't do any damage, really, if they aren't wielding a weapon that they've found on the ground. But they blink everywhere. They waste your time. They get in the way of your bow and arrow shots. Okay, there we go. We finally got him. They're just annoying. The nice thing about Okawaru is that it's very hard to lose piety with him if you're not a summoner. He depreciates killing your allies in battle, except accidentally. I think in a recent, relatively recent version of Trunk, they let him forgive you for accidentally blowing up your dudes. Like if you were testing a wand for the first time that was unidentified. Oh, this is super dangerous. Gargoyles are really, really strong. As you know, if you've ever played one, they have a ton of resistances. Poison and negative energy. And it's resistant to electricity. Okay, it doesn't resist fire, so we're going to use our bow of flame, I think. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that did the trick just fine. That's good. Yeah, gargoyles are very tough. They have innate armor class bonuses, um, innate resistances. Yeah, ice beasts are much easier to kill with a source of flame. Uh, they're all around very, very tough, even though they have a 20% reduction from average on their total hit points. Um, my first ascension was with a gargoyle. Uh, Started as a fighter and just stuck with the fighter the whole time. Okay, I'm a little bit annoyed that we haven't found the lair yet. It can be as deep as level 11, which you can see if you press Control O. The orc is somewhere between 9 and 12. The lair is somewhere between 8 and 11. And they're grayed out because we haven't seen them yet. I'm going up these staircases just in case there's something up at the top. And also, it's nice to be able to plot the shortest path back upstairs. Not necessarily here, because this is above the lair, and so we're not going to be going to and fro to get to our stash very often. But at the very end of the game, when you have grabbed the Orb of Zot from the bottom level of the dungeon, and you are trying to escape the dungeon, knowing the shortest path between staircases is incredibly important, because there are many monsters, many very powerful monsters that spawn and try and prevent you from reaching safety. Just melee down all these kobolds and sacrifice them to Akabaru. So yeah, that's why I map out the staircases even above the lair in the dungeon. I don't do it zealously. I will often forget to do so, which is fine. It's generally you can figure it out anyway, and it's my ascension at least. I did not have any difficulty, like, because of staircases, getting to the top. Although you can always go back, say when you reach the Realm of Zot, the area that contains 5 levels, and on the lowest, the orb. Hill Giant, we don't want to fight you face to face, but we must. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I didn't have that many problems with location, but again, with crawl, better safe than sorry. Oh yeah. I was saying you can always go back when you reach the sort of the Realm of Zot and map them out. Then you might have to take enough time that you need to eat a ration, some perma food. Needles of Frenzy, don't care so much about those. But it's worth it just to be safe. Always better safe than sorry in crawl. See, it's a zombie, so it is not affected by our cloud of miasma. That is a shame. Oh, crap. Wow, I just got us in a really dangerous situation because I was not paying attention. Wow, this is not great. We are at very low hit points. It's a griffin zombie. I said its name multiple times and didn't realize that griffins are actually quite strong. They are very, very fast. They hit you many times before you can respond. So you can suddenly go from full hit points to very low hit points. Although we had 2 or 3 turns of bashing our face against it needlessly. That certainly did not help. So I think, let's see, I have 3 potions of heal wounds. I think this is a circumstance which merits the use of one. Then we are going to equip our Bow of Flame. Okay, good, excellent. You'll see it got 3 attacks in that half a turn it took us to switch. And then we will quiver our Arrows of Dispersal, which takes no time. It takes no time whatsoever to switch which type of arrow you're using. Very, very handy. And we're going to, yeah, there we go. So now we can, let's go ahead and quiver our normal arrows. And now we can, let's see, run away to this staircase, I believe, effortlessly. Because now the kobold blocks the zombie from striking us. And the kobold is not scary. So we'll go back upstairs and rest See, that's why arrows of dispersal are fantastic. They provide even a semi-reliable means of getting rid of monsters is pretty invaluable, and I'm very sad that I regret using those arrows earlier. I think we could have probably meleeed stuff down. But no use crying over spilt milk, and we're still alive, and that's the main thing. Oh, I never even checked out this. The Book of Clouds. That's pretty good. Mephitic Cloud is very useful, as is Conjure Flame. Question is, can we memorize them? 80% failure? What if we use this Ring of Wizardry? What is it then? 45% failure. That's quite reasonable. And we have been putting points into our intelligence. Which one do we want? We have a Source of Flame. Let's memorize Mephitic Cloud. Oh, we can memorize them both. Well, we might as well then. I'm not concerned. We have 4 scrolls of amnesia. We're fine. Mephitic Cloud creates a cloud of confusing gas. Conjure Flame summons on an unoccupied spot, so you can't do it on an enemy, sadly. An unoccupied spot, it summons this big fireball that lasts for several turns. That is going to be quite useful. Quite useful here, fighting this griffin. What we are going to do is we are going to focus conjurations now. In fact, as soon as we get bows to level 12, we're going to turn it off entirely and focus conjurations and maybe fire. Haha, snuck up on you, Scorpion. A crossbow. Well, not particularly useful to us. I think it cross-trains. No, it doesn't even cross-train. We would have to start from scratch if we switched that crossbow. Not worth it. Good, we poisoned the Goliath beetle. That was, wow, that was really easy. That's excellent. Yes, we're switching over to spells because having even a few spells makes this game much, 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 much easier. It makes it a little harder to keep track of. So, you know, spellcasters are pretty difficult to play. I think I wasn't paying attention to the actual screen there. I was just reading about butchering up the corpse. This is a little bit of a tricky spot. So what we're going to do... Oh, no, 45% is not nearly... We haven't discovered Potion of Brilliance. That would make it much easier to cast. Let's try out this wand. Ooh, a Wand of Disintegration. Well, that's nice. Yeah. Kite back here. There we go. He cannot one-shot us if we are at 64 health with armor. So let's hit him once. And we poison him, so then we can run away. Here... Oh, Conjure Flame is at 36%. Here, I believe it's worth it to risk a spellcast failure. We're going to press Z and then the star key. Okay, so the yellow highlight on the failure rate means that we have a chance of suffering a moderate miscast effect. If it's gray, I guess if it's gray failure rate, it's a slight miscast effect, minor contamination, nothing really happens. Moderate means we could get glow, which is something that happens when you reach higher levels, moderate and high levels of contamination, which can cause mutations, bad mutations. Not like our Demonspawn mutations, which are awesome. These are bad mutations. But moderate is worth... Yes, we managed to cast it successfully. You see, we put it in that empty spot, but the hill giant was already barreling forwards towards us, and he stumbled right into it. So now he's standing in a giant fireball and will probably take damage faster than he can deal it to us. So we are going to hit him once, and then hit him again, and then hit him a third time. And now we are going to run away. And the poison and the remaining flame finished him off for us. Pa-ching! Just a big old bag of experience. See, spells are cool. Spells are great. I'm glad we went with intelligence. Thank you. Thank you for helping me decide that. Our bows went up, our conjurations went up. We reached level 11. Maybe we'll get a new mutation. A wave of death washes over you. I believe that is powered by death. And that is our other tier 2 mutation. I like powered by death. It's a kind of subtle mutation. It multiplies our regeneration rate by the number of fresh corpses within a certain number of tiles of us for a certain number of turns, depending on the rank of the mutation. So it's 3, 6, and 9 tiles away for each for ranks 1, 2, and 3 respectively. And then the duration is 8, 16, 24 base turns plus 2d8. So at max rank, we could potentially regenerate, what is that? 40, for 40 turns, we could regenerate at a multiplicative rate based on corpses within 9 tiles of us. That's really cool. If we're in a big, giant brawl, like we've arrowed down a bunch of dudes and we're forced to fight in melee hand to hand, we're going to be regenerating like crazy. We're going to be getting hit points faster than the monsters can deal damage to us. Ideally, assuming that we're in a branch with monsters that leave corpses. You see that beautiful little purple regen color up there. That's us regaining hit points. For 2 corpses, yeah, we're getting 2 to 3 hit points per turn. That is just outstanding. The only downside is that when you chop them up, we're going to butcher the orc corpse, not the hill giant corpse. Hill giant corpse is definitely going to give us piety with Okawaru. So you can see we're already up to 3 pips of piety with Okawaru. We're going to press little a to check out our abilities. We're going to press star. You can see heroism is there. I think we got that at level 1 of piety, actually, but it's still nice to have. And it was an 8% failure rate. We're going to go ahead... well, yeah, we're going to turn on invocations, not focus it. Bows. Yeah, we're going to turn bows off. That works pretty well. We're going to get invocations up to level 5 or so, maybe 6, to get finesse down to a below 10% failure rate once we reach finesse. Because finesse is enough, it's expensive enough in terms of piety and hunger that it's definitely considered, I consider it a panic button. I never plan to have a fight which would require me to have finesse to win. I mean, of course, I get into those situations unplanned many, many times throughout the course of a game, so it's not the craziest of panic buttons. It's a reasonable one. Anyway, so we're just, but that occurs around 5 or 6, and there's not a ton of benefit in raising invocations for anything other than the failure rate. I don't believe that heroism and finesse scale with invocations, or if they do, it's not at an amount that's worth putting too many points into them. We're very full, so we're going to go ahead and just sacrifice that. I really shouldn't be running around with my spear. Although, if we keep bumping into these Crimson Imps... See, this is where the tab key, as I have mentioned earlier, is one of the best keys in this entire game, one of the best hotkeys. Is for when you're fighting these darn imps or bats that flit around, and they have incredibly high evasion, and you don't want to waste your ammunition on them because, well, they're perfectly safe. But if you try and like physically chase after them using the number keys, it can take you ages. Whereas this just walks you towards them and hits him in the face. I'm just gonna shoot him. Note I am using 41 arrows. We got more arrows somewhere. Oh, that's amazing. That's wonderful. We're in business now. No, I think we shot one down that shaft. That's fine. Crimson Imps are resistant to fire, so if you're using fire arrows or a fire bow, another Disc of Storms, I'll go into this in a second. A fire arrow or a fire bow, it will resist most of the damage. It's not just fire spells or the added fire damage that it resists, it also resists the base. So you want to use a normal bow when fighting them. I think that I might as well stick to this normal bow for now. Fire is nice, but it's awkward enough switching between them when you run into a fire-resistant enemy, and a +2 damage bonus is significant enough at this point in the game that might as well hang on to it. Falchion of Flaming. Do I care about that? Not really. I think I'm going to ditch this Whip of Freezing as well. I'm not really sure that we need that. The Control F function lets me find these things. Again, a kobold and some sheep. Oh, yaks. Yaks. Yaks are really dangerous. They hit moderately hard. They're reasonably fast. I don't know if they're faster than you are, but they are certainly as fast, so it's hard to run away from them. They close distance to you, and they always come in packs. Sometimes you're lucky and they come with just sheep. Most of the time it's 4 to 6 yaks. So they can swarm you pretty easily, especially in the lair where choke points, like these hallways that I've been using, choke points are fairly rare. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick up these weapons so that when that kobold gets to that spot where we want to funnel him, he doesn't just pick them up and use them against us. Okay, this may be a fight that we're going to have to run away from. Although he did leave a corpse, so we get our beautiful regeneration. So our healing is doubled currently. Good, okay. I can't tell if we got more, if we got another corpse from that or not. The regeneration factor does increase for each corpse within, well, currently 3 tiles of us. So, yeah, by the end there, we were regenerating at 5 times, or 4 times our normal rate. That is insane. That is so much regeneration. We're at this stage of the game, we're basically invincible with that amount of regeneration. It's a little silly. Well, let's get rid of that crappy maze. Snozcumber. Okay, we're going to molest this plant. Fedhas would not approve. Fedhas Madash. Oh, wow, okay. I think the game froze there from me spamming it with stuff. I think I picked up some permafood that was sitting underneath it. Or maybe an arrow that I misfired. I don't know. Oh, hello! That was a face check right there. Checked it with my face. Hydras. It's only a 3-headed Hydra, which is not very scary, but it's still reasonably scary. I mean, it looks extremely dangerous to us. Hydras are super scary for a lot of melee classes, because every time you attack them with a cutting weapon, chopping, so axes, some pole arms, swords, short blades and long blades, although not daggers, fortunately. Anyway, if you attack them with those, they for each head you chop off, they grow 2 more. And they get 1 attack per head. And that's really nasty. Really, really nasty. Fortunately, our spear is puncturing and our arrows are puncturing. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit this guy with venom until he gets poisoned enough that we can just quiver up some arrows of flame, move away a couple of spaces, and he'll die. And that'll give us a free couple of shots on this Hydra before it gets in melee range. Ouch. They hurt so badly. We made him sick, which is good. I'm going to... Hold on. I'm going to see what sickness does. Prevents them from healing. And sometimes drains their stats. Okay, so not something that's super immediately useful. Oh, it hits us so hard, so many times. All right. We're going to hope that by the time we get to the staircase, no. Okay, we didn't get an extra move pip in there, an extra tile. So we're going to try and disintegrate it, which works good. All right. I don't think it can one-shot us. It might be able to if all three of its heads roll max damage. But I don't think it can, and we have potions of heal wounds. So, there we go. A risky play to shoot it, but worth. Conjurations goes up to 4, Invocations goes up to 2. We're going to turn off Invocations for now, I think, because we have not yet... Oh, have we achieved Finesse? No. Finesse is at 5 pips of Piety. It's hard to get. But yeah, it's at 2.6, so Finesse would be theoretically usable when we get there, and I really want to get Mephitic Cloud down to a 10% or lower failure rate. So I think... Poison magic is not incredibly useful later on, so I don't like investing points into it, but we do have a neutral affinity for it. So I think I'm going to train up a level of poison magic and a level of fire magic. I do like fire spells better than ice spells on balance, though that does not... That is different for different characters, obviously, and for different spellbooks that you found. And I believe that Fire Elementalists and Ice Elementalists are both strong starting backgrounds. I just like fire spells. I don't know. I like making things go boom, and fire has the strongest spell in the game, Firestorm. Easily the strongest spell in the game. Much better than Ice Storm. Although Ice Storm is also tremendous. Well, Piffle, we are full. I'm going to drop this Wand of Random Effects. I don't really like Wands of Random Effects. Oh, we're burdened. It's not that we don't have space. It's that we... Okay, well, let's drop this Metalbound book. It's not going to go anywhere. Since we're going to close this door and close this door behind us, so jellies can't get in there. And we probably won't ever be able to read that anyway, unless you know, we go really crazy and turn this into a more than... Oh, crap. I'm going to go get one of those other weapons. If we turn this into a more than 3 rune run, then potentially we'll have access to Firestorm, etc. Oh, crap. That burns me, too. We'll drop these Discs of Storms for now. Our Evocations skill is not nearly high enough to make use of those. They basically explode lightning all around you, which is kind of cool. Oh wow, that didn't even corrode the stupid thing. All right, well, whatever. Scroll of Immolation, I may mess with those later when I have a few more offensive spells. You can set up some pretty neat chain reactions with Scrolls of Immolation, which, as with anything powerful, is also very risky to you. Okay. And oh wow, this video has gone a long time. This is going to take a long time to upload, so I'm going to go ahead and just you know, chop up this hound and eat him, and then I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I think we've mostly explored this level anyway, so we'll polish it off next time, and hopefully, well, next level we will find the lair if it's not hidden around here somewhere, because dungeon level 11 is the lowest it can go. So join us next time, dear viewers, for Beasts and More.